The concept is things get accomplished little by little, usually not all or nothing, usually not in a day. Anything that gets accomplished in a day, what is that? Other than if it's good, probably was an act of God. If it was anything else, it's probably a fantasy. But it is our bent to want to have things of value quickly, and we want to have them all. And we tend to think of all or nothing kinds of ways of looking at everything. Somebody's got to lose 50 pounds, New Year's resolution, which we're not too far away from. They're going to start and work hard on January 1 and 2 and hop on scales on January 3. They might not see any movement at all. In fact, it might have gone the other way if just enough water stays in the body. But that doesn't mean nothing's happening. Okay. And that is the key thing about people that accomplish things in life. And I want to give you, let's go back to the pie of life here. Okay. The clinical piece, which is overcoming depression, anxiety, fears, phobias, all of that kind of stuff, stress, energy levels, PTSD, all of it. I've been around dealing with that for lots of decades now, and I have seen lots and lots of it healed. So encouraging to know it's reality. People can heal over depression, anxiety, panic disorders, eating disorders, addictions, all this stuff. But I tell you, I've never seen it done in one step. No 1-800, it's over, I'm well. I have seen miracles in certain instances where God does something, and I can encourage you to pray for all that. But even in my book, Why I Believe, when I was going through, as I chronicle in that book, it's called Why I Believe, if you want to hear my story, I hit the bottom, very depressed. And one of the things I learned about God was God stepped in and did some actual supernatural things. You can read about them in the book. There are lots of miracles in there, things that I have seen, things I have experienced, and things that I cannot deny. And in that period, when I was really depressed, God did some supernatural things. And one of the things I write about that I learned early was, and I was still depressed. I wasn't out of it yet. And yet I saw him and his hand moving. And yet he wasn't healing me of the depression. But then he led me through some things that I had to do a lot of incremental steps of changing and growing and healing to finally come out of it. Haven't been depressed since. It was bad, but it was incremental. And the reason was growth takes time. Healing takes time. And one of the biggest fallacies that you'll ever hear a lot of times is time heals all things. No, it doesn't. No. Try saying that to somebody with an abscessed tooth. Just give it a couple of weeks or gangrene in your finger or something. Yeah, just give it more time. No. Time is going to be an ingredient, but so are some other healing agencies, right? There's grace and support and love and care, and there's teaching and there's structure and there's taking steps and there's discipline and there's correction and there's a bunch of things. You make a soup, you put it all in the pot, and what do? You turn it on, and yeah, it's going to take however long it takes to cook. But it wasn't just the time that did it. There had to be some stuff put in there as well. And the ingredients is that time is going to be a part of, but it takes more than that. The thing about time, though, what I wanted to emphasize here is that it's all of this growth stuff. It's not one step, it's incremental, little bitty steps over time. I was just reading chapter 13 in Proverbs, and it was talking about ill-gotten gains versus the person who makes money grow little by little over time will do fine. That's true in terms of getting over your depression, getting over your anxiety, making your marriage better, raising a great kid, all of that. They're incremental little steps. So I want to give you a couple of principles about that. Principle number one, you've got to define what the steps are going to be. Okay, so if New Year's resolutions, you're going to lose weight, there's got to be certain activities. You're going to walk your 10,000 steps a day. You're going to do A, B, and C, whatever it is. And the first thing is we can't know if time is working or not unless we've defined the steps. I want you to do that first. But then the second principle is this. It will be of those little steps in the beginning that look like nothing is happening. Okay. If you are increasing the heat on a pot on the stove with ice cubes in it, and you're increasing it by 1 degree, you're not going to see anything, but you keep increasing it a little bit, and pretty soon you're going to do something, and then you're going to hit critical mass. And then you're really going to see something. You get compounded interest. So don't be discouraged when you're working on something that in the beginning nothing seems like it's changing. If you're doing the right things, it will. Secondly, you're going to hit a crash in motivation because in the beginning of starting to change anything, you're all motivated and you start, and then you go through this lull, and then you kind of the motivation begins to wane. And that's the key place where people drop off thinking nothing's working or whatever. You've got to make sure at that moment that you keep doing the incremental steps, generally by outside support and having some sort of structure, coach or a mentor or a buddy system does for you. But do not let the fall down of that initial wearing off of the motivation to tell you something goofy in your head like this isn't working. Okay. You cannot let motivation be your driver because motivation wanes. We know that. It's a commitment to a structure to keep doing the incremental steps. Now, here's a problem. Number three, you cannot measure the effectiveness of what you're doing against the goal. You can't measure it against the goal. The gap is too big. So you can't, if you're going to lose 50 pounds, you can't measure yourself looking on there to see how close you are to the goal in day one. You got to measure yourself against, am I doing the incremental steps or not? That's what you've got to measure yourself against. Was today a success? Did I do A, B, C, and D, the things I said I was going to do? And that's how you measure it.